Welcome to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve. I got my ex-co-host, Megan Ozer, here.
Welcome.
You're happy and jovial today.
You were just dancing.
Hey, I like that song. So, you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve with RJ Graham Plumbing.
Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself.
You're just on it today, aren't you? Each week, I bring my 20-plus years of experience in the plumbing and contracting trade to our listening audience to assist them on any of their projects or home improvement issues they are having. Plus,
You're really
along
good
with
at
that,
it too.
I bring guests that I met along the way to assist on other aspects of home improvement. Well, I mean, I'm a plumber. I don't know everything. Bringing them in that can assist and guide along the way as well. And I also have the great Megan
I don't
Ozer.
know about that.
That. Well, you represent the homeowner. You represent
I represent the people that don't know anything about anything.
The layman.
The layman.
Or the laywoman, whatever I don't know.
Yeah, Steve, come on.
I'm not really sure how to do that.
I'm just here to eat a beef jerky and have a monster. No,
Keep a seat warm.
I've learned so much just from being here. I don't even know how many times what year is it, Steve? How many times have I been on?
You've been on for about a good 2 months now.
Yeah, something like that.
And you bringing that aspect to the show of just a homeowner point of view.
The homeowner
and
aspect.
That's what we need. We need somebody to, it's like, put it in, like I said, layman's terms, and ask questions like, okay, what do you mean by that?
And perspective.
Exactly. I mean, it sounds funny when you're saying
What's a pot filler, Steve? Just things like that.
Exactly.
But I learn a lot. It's pretty cool. So I'm kind of here to dumb it down, if you will, right?
Well,
I mean, essentially.
Or just put it in, I guess a lot of times a lot of technical jargon could be used instead of in plain English.
Yeah, and you sometimes go on and I have to pull you back back into reality
and
back to the
today's
topic.
I'm going to move on. And today's show is brought to you by RJ Graham Plumbing and Ferguson Supply. Ferguson Supply is located in
Tinley Park.
Yes, you know exactly where that is.
I thought that was.
And a little bit about RJ Graham Plumbing. We've been around for over a decade, and we pride ourselves on quality. And we have our fixed or it's free money-back satisfaction guarantee. So we're here to solve the problem and provide resolution.
That being said, there's a slow drain in the office, Steve.
Okay,
you can maybe check that up.
Would you like to place a call for service?
Also, the toilet is running slow. Like, I'll flush it. I'm a double flusher. I should stop talking.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if it's the operator.
No, it's like a flush once, and then I'll wash my hands, and then go back to flush again, and it still hasn't filled it up enough to where I can flush it again.
I would suggest
just saying, if you could take a look at that tomorrow, that'd be great. Thanks, Steve. Moving along.
Oh, nice. Joining us on today's show, God help him, is Mr. Mike Schnyders with his company, Junk Squad. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Well, I don't know if you're going to ever come back after this conversation with me and my good buddy here.
I'm pretty sure we reel the people in.
It's been entertaining so far.
Yes, we reel them in with a van and a bag over their head.
A beef stick.
And a beef stick. We snatch them off the street.
I do like beef jerky.
There you go.
I do. My Monday diet is terrible. Well,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I laugh.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see how long it takes for you to hit the bathroom after eating.
I'll hold it in till the end of the show.
There you go.
I'm dedicated.
So I had seen Mike on social media on many of occasions, and he had another company which he did really well at, and he decided to go off on a different venture. Tell me if I'm a little bit wrong on your background information,
no, you're right.
Mike.
Yep.
And he started up his company, Junk Squad. And I was like, okay. And there was a lot of people that are doing it, and most of the people I've seen out there that do it, it's a side thing for them somewhat. It's something that it's a seasonal or something. I've noticed some people doing that. They'll either do something during the year, like landscaping or other issues, and then or other
Not
projects. Yeah, and then what they do is, because it's off season, they do something like this. And Mike was one of the first people I see that actually committed to doing this. And I was like, I first thought, okay, well, I mean, how much junk could you have? And then I'm thinking, no, there's a lot of, we've gone to a lot of houses where stuff accumulates.
I should welcome you guys over sometime.
So
a real treat.
I had to have him on. I'm like, okay, we gotta, he just started this, and I reached out to him. He was just saying before the show, reached out to him. I want to say
April of 2021.
Yeah, and he's just started. He's like, I'm not sure if I really have anything, to bring. I'm like, come on, you've got a ton of wealth of information that would be useful even with the new venture and the old venture. But he's like, I'm not ready. And then I reached out to him again, and he jumped all over it. And here I am, or here we are, I should say. Got him on. Tell me about you, Mike. Tell us about Junk Squad and what you do.
So, as you mentioned, Steve, I had a window cleaning business actually from 2012 to 2020. Sold the business. I was ready for something different. We actually had talked, my family and I had talked about moving out of town. And my son was an 8th grader at the time, so we thought either we go now or we wait till he graduates high school. And we decided to wait till he graduates high school.
Okay.
At which point I said, oh, crap, I just sold my business. And got to do something else now. So one of the customers that I used to have actually in the window cleaning business owned a large franchise junk removal business. So when we were at the house, we would always talk and, go back and forth with business stuff. So at that point, I contacted him. He had sold his business at that time as well and was out of his non-compete. And we were talking a little bit and then just decided to go this route. He's been a great mentor for me getting started and stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, great guy. Really good friend of mine. So that's how it all just started. And, a year and a half. I know you contacted me in April of 2021. I sold at the end of October of 2020. So I took a little time off there to try and, put some ideas on paper. Yeah.
I forgot already. No, so
I can't.
I get it's like my ADHD brain. I get so excited to say something, and then I'm like, "What was it?"
Does this help with memory?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. We were talking last week about being passionate about what you do, right? Mm-hmm. Like you got to love what you do, or what's the point of doing it? How did you go windows and you're like, you know what? Junk. I want to do junk. Like what were you thinking? What was your... I get it.
So after I sold, we took a vacation, family vacation. Like we just got, you work, and then finally you hit that end of that. So we took a family vacation. We're sitting by a pool in Florida. I'm writing things down on paper, right? Because what happened was I stayed on 10 weeks after I sold, and I realized I'm a horrible employee at this point in my life.
Yeah.
Like once you kind of own and operate your own business, I'm not a great employee anymore. For myself, but for working for another company. So sitting by the pool, wrote down 5-6 ideas, tried to narrow them down, and then it just kept coming back to me having conversations with
that's awesome.
My friend who, a mentor who had it, and we just said, hey.
Because you got to know what you're doing. It's not just, you can't just go into it and be like, we're going to do this.
Right. In the beginning, someone calls and said, hey, how much to remove this? And you're like,
I don't know.
Hey, buddy. Sending pictures and getting information back that way. And so like I said, he's been a great mentor for me. I could see his passion for it. And he retired, so he's done.
Right.
Well, actually, he's not done. He's consulting and stuff now. He's, like I said, just a great guy. But I could see his passion for it. I thought, this sounds pretty good. Let's give it a shot, And I'm a little bit of a gambler that way, I guess. With let's give it a shot. And I have a lot of fun. I mean, we have a ton of fun every day we go to work. I don't get out of bed in the morning and think, oh, crap, I have to go to work. I get out of the bed in the morning and think, this is, let's see what we find today.
I feel like everybody
let's help people out, and that's the biggest part of it for me is I enjoy, Steve, it's about relationships, right, with people.
Absolutely.
So I enjoy meeting people, helping them solve a problem. Obviously they have too much stuff. We get a lot of houses where it's, a deceased family member and they have to get the house cleaned out to sell the house and it's difficult that way, but I feel like we're providing a good solution for people, and you make a lot of relationships along the way. So it's been fun. I love it. Some days are harder than others, but every day. And the guys that work with me, they enjoy doing it too. They have a lot of fun with it. So
absolutely,
it's good when you can go to work and have fun.
Why are you?
Because I was telling you in the van. I said, I go, Mike. I said, what he does.
So bad.
I said,
I was telling you in the van.
Well, when we were talking, when we pulled up, and I go, Mike's the guy you call. After the trial and after
talking,
the after the body, you get rid of the body. That's what you make to get rid of all the other stuff.
Steve, we shouldn't talk about this.
She's like, what?
Talking about teardrop tattoos.
No. I was watching Law and Order and all a bunch of that stuff. So anyway, Dateline getting really weird with that stuff, Forensic Files. But anyway, but you doing what you do, it's like and having a passion, and it just shows that there's opportunities out there, and you have to just an opportunity to do something. And I saw this actually. You're gonna laugh because I actually saw it. If it's on a ketchup bottle, it's by Heinz. It says to do something common uncommonly well. And
oh my! Is that where you get all your inspirational quotes? Is a Heinz bottle?
Fortune cookies,
Laffy Tappies.
Laffy
So
Taffy.
he has so
My
many.
wife buys Hunts, and now I got to have her switch.
Hunts.
Occasionally.
Oh,
we have a mix. It's it's kind of whatever's on sale.
I don't think Hunts will go over well.
But Heinz, now we're gonna have to start making a concerted effort just to get Heinz ketchup, so I can get inspiration for my business.
He has one every 5 minutes. He's got.
So
you'll hear another. Just wait.
In case you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with the RJ Graham Plumbing, and our homeowner rep, which is Megan Ozer, and Mr. Mike Schnyders with Junk Squad. And we're going over just a little bit of information about just getting into the business that you're in. It's it's pretty interesting, and just some of the stuff that you do, especially with and Megan actually brought this up when she sent me over a text, is the popularity of some of these shows like what is the one?
I brought this up with you.
You actually sent it over with the pickers, the guys.
American Pickers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got
Storage
those guys.
Wars is
Storage
another
Wars.
popular.
Yeah, things like that. So I mean,
this was a conversation he had with somebody else because I didn't.
You sent it in a message.
I didn't.
You need memory. You need some memory.
You're going to have to go back and look because you're having conversations
How much you want
with
to bet?
Somebody else. That I brought up.
That you
Pickers?
did. No, you brought up.
Marie Kondo?
No.
What the hell?
You brought up something on the show.
I did?
Like Pickers, yes, you did.
Pickers?
Yes. It wasn't exactly Pickers, but what you find like on a show. Like they did, like the store, like the other places. What interesting things he found. What do you think, I'm lying to you?
I need like Alexa to follow me around, just record my
I deal with a lot of primer and glue, but I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
So,
all right.
in closed spaces. So we're going to take a quick break. And then we come back, we are going to be back with Mike Schnyders with Junk Squad and Megan Ozer and your host, myself, Steve Suarez with RJ Graham Plumbing. And we are going to start out a new segment after the break, which is called Homeowner Hacks. Back after this. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve with RJ Graham Plumbing. Join me is our homeowner rep.
Layperson extraordinaire, as you call me.
Yes, Megan Ozer and Mr. Mike Schnyders with Junk Squad, and we're going to start off these basically halftime of the show. Well, we're a little bit before half of the show.
We're ahead of time.
Yes, we're running ahead of time.
Well, I'd like to take this time to say hi to my dad, who's one of our dedicated listeners.
Well, we should probably settle the debate that was going on during the break too. That it was a draw between.
No.
It was a draw.
I was 100% correct.
Right.
She was wrong.
Right. I was correct.
I am right. She was wrong.
You didn't read properly, which
did or did it not come from your? Did you send it to me?
Were they my words, Steve?
Yes, they were your words.
No, they were not.
It came from your text message.
I literally put quote unquote. This is from Mike.
And I just derailed the program.
Right. And I just wanted.
wanted to say hi to my dad.
Okay, I did. This is where.
Thanks, Bob.
Here's how I end this little argument. This is where I put my fingers in my ears and go la 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 because I'm not listening to you.
Is that what you do to June?
I do that with everybody. So
Can't hear you.
So Megan, would you like to do the honors of our homeowner hack that we have, which is a new segment?
The honors, huh?
Yes.
So yeah, we're starting this new thing. We're trying to organize ourselves a little better. have a
Kinda have a
actual
flow a little
purpose of what the heck we're doing.
We do have a purpose.
I know, but we don't.
We're here to assist.
Nobody knows
Serve.
what the heck our purpose is sometimes because you'll talk. I like when you look at me like you're about to kill me.
You silenced him.
So halfway through the show, we're gonna do this new thing called homeowner hacks. So,
And what does the homeowner hack consist of?
well, it's going to consist of we're going to kind of try to relate it along the lines of who we have on the show. So with Mike today from Junk Squad, our homeowner hack today is our tips or tricks on how to declutter your home. Anything along the lines of de-junking.
Okay.
So every week we'll have tips, tricks, hacks.
Ideas.
I love hacks.
Ideas. So,
Ideas.
without further ado, what kind of tips, trips, and
What kind of?
what kind of tips,
back.
tricks,
It's-
information? that
It's
we
funny you
can-
ask, Steve, because I might have a few.
Do you have
So I
7
guess the
sheets
main
of
thing
paper
is,
here?
if you're asking the question, do I need to declutter? The answer is probably yes.
Oh,
right?
God.
So one of the hardest things to do decluttering is to actually get started. Like, I think I walk past piles of papers in my own house, for weeks before I go, I probably do something with that. But every time I walk by, I say, I should probably do something with that. So
I put mine in cardboard boxes and then I hide them.
So
And
you don't
then
need these
I'm
tips.
like, I'm going to go back to that later. I never do.
correct.
I have boxes everywhere.
So the hardest thing to do is probably get started. So I think one of the main things you can do is say, put it on a calendar. Like on January 17 on a Saturday, I'm going to spend an hour in the morning from 8 to 9 decluttering something.
Right.
And start small. Start with a one room, a closet, a drawer, something that's very
Okay.
attainable. I wouldn't recommend starting with sentimental or emotional items, pictures, stuff like that. Maybe family stuff. Start with something like magazines. You got a pile of papers. You got a pile of magazines.
Right.
You have 25 Christmas sweaters, maybe.
Yeah.
And you only have 15 parties.
I don't
Wow.
have any Christmas sweaters.
Yeah.
Well, you
And
could,
every year I'm like, I need a Christmas sweater.
Yeah, because I got a lot of stuff like
Irrelevant.
old show information, stuff
Sure.
that I've started because the show's been going on for 2 years, so I got to get rid of that. Got to get
Why
rid of
don't you
some
just-
other
you
stuff.
need
Got to
to
get rid of
just-
Meg. Got to get rid of just other things that are involved.
Oh, you're so funny today. Wow.
he's got his game on.
I'll be here next week.
Yeah. Okay. You need to start taking. Oh, this can be a tip. Like with the papers and stuff, take photos of it and put them in your phone or the files. Like scan them. I saw something. I think it was probably a TikTok.
Yeah, it's not.
I thought it was my turn.
Oh, I do that. You can just backhand me
Kidding.
at any point.
I'm kidding. No, you're
I
good.
said something where how like parents have all their kids' drawings and like you want to throw them away, but your kid
Right,
will
that's
cry.
hard. Yeah, those are hard to get rid of.
there's
But those are sentimental items, right? Family photos.
this
pictures your
company.
Kids drew.
Mother of the
Yeah.
Year, 5 years running.
Oh yeah, right. Pete, there's this company. They send you a box and you take all of this crap. You put it in the box.
Stuff.
You send it back to them. They make a cute little book out of it.
Oh, nice.
Do you know why I say
Anyway,
5
sorry
years
about that.
running? Because she lost out to the mother that forgot her kid at school 5 times in a row.
That was me though.
Title regained.
Oh, winning.
I have done that.
That's something.
I've gone to the wrong school to pick them up. I've gone to the wrong school to drop them off.
Mike's turn, please.
What?
You're
Mike's
fine.
turn. Go ahead.
I know. I'm sorry.
What other types? What other
So,
tips, Mike?
yeah, getting back into it. Getting rid of junk, I think you have to ask yourself, when's the last time you used the item, thought about the item, needed the item? If it's
Right.
been more than like 9 to 12 months, short of seasonal items. Like, I don't think you want to throw your Christmas tree out if you haven't used it in 9 months, because you will need it again
Right.
in a year. But
I have another question. What about clothing? Like,
I got a good one at the end. I got a good hack at the end.
Okay, I won't remember. Okay, all right.
I'll remember. Don't
Okay,
worry.
all right.
Okay. Get rid of multiples. Like things if you are if you say you start in your kitchen, then you're going to clean out a drawer. If you have 10 spatulas in the drawer, unless you do like family flapjack Saturday where everyone gets around the griddle and everyone has 2
Flapjack party.
spatulas,
I
you probably don't need 10.
Okay.
You probably don't need 30 Phillips
well
head
now if I
screwdrivers.
had 10, I would be like, I don't need 10. But now Mike brought up the fact that people have flapjack parties, and then I would be like, do I need to have a flapjack party?
See, I ruin a lot of our spatulas at our house, so for us, we need 10 because my wife can attest to that. I use the wrong
How do you
kitchen
ruin?
Well, I use the wrong kitchen utensils for wrong things.
You melt them.
Wait, what do you use as spatula?
Well, not spatulas necessarily, but the plastic spoons. Like I'll use them to make eggs, and you're not supposed to. Apparently. And then they get deformed, and
oh wow,
we don't have them anymore.
See how we get sidetracked? Go on.
Yeah. So get rid of multiples. Maybe if you have 30 Christmas sweaters like we talked about earlier, you might not need all those as you're cleaning out your closet. So you can donate a lot of this stuff. Start small. Like I said, pick a room, pick a closet, pick a drawer or something. And then as you get a little bit of momentum going, maybe you start tackling those other larger items like that couch in your basement that hasn't been used in 5 years or sat in and has holes in it and is the size of a 76 Cadillac.
Right.
Or that giant rear projection TV that hasn't been turned on in 20 to 30 years that's in your basement.
Oh, wow. I actually have a friend on Facebook, my neighbor. She literally,
we do a lot of those.
We
get a lot of those.
You get a lot of what?
The rear projection TVs.
Oh.
That's, believe it or not, still work.
Yeah.
They just aren't really useful anymore when you can get
My
the
dad
same
had one of
size
those.
TV.
What do you do with them?
We take them to an electronic recycling place.
They recycle.
You can't throw those in the landfill, so we specially recycle those off to the side for a place. Once you start seeing that progress, you start getting some momentum. You just kind of keep going with it, and I think the main thing is once you start making progress like that is to be diligent about keeping that clean at that point. It's a lot easier to kind of do it along the way than to try and tackle the entire house at once or let it rebuild up a point again where you're stressed out and you have anxiety over it. And so just to stay on top of it, once you kind of get it, decluttered, staying on top of it is kind of a
You have any tips for
piece.
like the ADHD brain where you start one thing and you just hop all over the place? I was cleaning under my
know me well.
trash can with the vacuum, and I was like halfway through, I'm like, I have the vacuum out. Let me clean in the cushion, under the cushions and in between the cushions. And then I'm like, well, now I still have the vacuum. Let me vacuum my car. And then I'm in my car. And then I'm like, I have to go to the bank. And then I go to the bank. And then
you vacuum at the bank?
It's just,
I think that may be a little bit out of my area of expertise.
No help for me.
You really got to get that tunnel vision going and just kind of stay focused, I guess.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
She vacuums at the bank, picks up some 5s, 10s, 20s.
Are you vacuuming in the bank?
I possibly.
Behind the counter?
I love to vacuum, so I'd probably offer to vacuum the bank. It's bad.
Okay.
You're listening to the Prepared to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve. If you're just tuning in, I got my co-host Meg and Mr. Mike Schnyders with Junk Squad. And he's just going over some tips here under our new homeowner hack segment on tips that you can do for
decluttering
your home.
Organization.
There you go. Thank you. You took the word. You know what I was saying.
Yep, got it.
So you want to round us out with some other tips, or is that?
So to your point about clothing. So I heard this one the other day. They said hang all your clothes up with the hook of the hanger facing out, and as you use an item, you turn it around and put it the other way. So at the end of the year, all the hangers that are still facing out that you haven't worn in a year can either get donated or...
Okay, and that's where I was coming in with women mostly will be like, well, I'm going to lose weight and we're going to wear that when that happens. And then the hanger has 7 inches of dust. Is that when you finally...
That would also be a good time to get rid of it.
Oh, man. I have a few people that commented on Facebook. My one friend, my neighbor, she said the exact same thing you did. Go room by room, start with the closets, proceed to the drawers, start small so you don't get overwhelmed.
Right.
She said, this is where she lost me. Organize your closet by sleeve length and color. I was like, no, I can't do that. But then she kind of made sense when she said to see if there are any duplicates.
That makes sense.
I was like, that's a good idea. Somebody else says if you buy an article of clothing, get rid of one article. If you buy 4 shirts, get rid of 4 shirts. Correct. That checks out. I like that one.
Or you could wall off half of your closet so that space isn't even available anymore.
Wow.
That seems silly. I could always find something to go in
You'll take that wall down
space.
again.
Yeah.
But you probably run into, as we wrap up the homeowner hack segment, you probably run into a lot of homes where they've accumulated a lot of things over the years. And that can get pretty touchy, especially if it's for a relative that they're coming in and they're helping out, where the person that's coming in that's calling for the decluttering is disconnected from the items that are being removed, whereas the person who owns them has that connection, and it can get pretty...
That's hard. I have that issue.
Yes, it can get pretty intense. What do you need this for? You don't, you know what I mean? Like you said, the emotional attachment.
You help people. That's where I was asking you. You have to have some sort of knowledge to be able to just help people with that.
Well, we try to obviously give guidance in that area, like some of these things that we just talked about. But ultimately, it's between the family members to decide whether it stays or goes.
But I don't think in your aspect, I don't think it's so much guidance as much as you have to have a certain sensitivity to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to, have empathy with the person and kind of guide them along the way. So you have to basically have humanity and to be able to do it. Some people are just...
And that's one of the things I didn't talk about earlier, but there is a very emotional side to it from our side, too, that when we're taking stuff out, you want to be as respectful as possible, obviously, of the home.
Right.
We're not going to put dings in your walls. We're not going to scratch the floors when we're moving stuff out and stuff. But also of the emotional side of the people that are getting rid of the stuff. Because a lot of it, like I said earlier, is we're cleaning out houses of deceased family members sometimes, an elderly parent, and they have to get the house cleaned out to put the house for sale, obviously.
And it's hard for them to do.
It's very difficult for them to do that. So they usually come in and get the sentimental, emotional stuff, the pictures, that kind of stuff out. But even after that, when you're taking out clothing out of closets and stuff, it can be very. It's an emotional time for them. So we try to be very sensitive to that. We try to. Ask as many questions as we can, like, hey, is this going? And, at one house, actually, the daughter she went and took a walk while we cleaned the closets out because it was really hard on her. It's hard to, so we try to be as sensitive as that as we can and, even say, hey, we're going to go into the room now and, remove the rest of the items in that room or something. And,
Do you think that's the majority of calls you'll get? A deceased family member? No.
It's a lot of times it's just people moving out of state. We have a lot of.
God, I could have used you in 2017. Oh my! I packed our entire house, and I am a. What's the word I'm looking for?
Pack rat.
Oh, bad. Yeah. I'm bad, but I did it.
We do a lot of moving, and that's another hack too, I guess. If you haven't, when we moved 6 years ago, when I had my other business, so we downsized houses. We moved stuff from the bigger house into my shop just to get it out of there and get it, packed away because we had to be out. Moved all the other stuff that we needed immediately to our newer house, new house to us. And when I sold the business, I had to get out of the shop I was in for the new company that bought it. And we're taking boxes out that were sitting there for 2 years. They've never been open. And that's kind of when we thought, do we really need this stuff? Or
speaking of which.
So, yeah, that was a good eye-opener for us that we haven't used this stuff in 2 years. We probably don't need it.
That being said, can I use some of the office space for the clothing that my husband is making me get rid of that I don't want to get rid of yet?
Sure.
Let's think about it. Think about it. We'll touch base again on tomorrow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We'll discuss
a couple boxes. I can vacuum seal them. I could get the air out of them.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break here on the Prepare to Repair show here on 1340 WJOL. I'm your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing, with Megan Ozer and Mike Schnyders with Junk Squad. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing. Megan's having a little bit of trouble over here. That's my co-host there, who's actually got herself caught up with the headphone wire. And Mike Schnyders with RJ Graham with Junk Squad. He's now with RJ Graham.
You don't want me to do plumbing for you, Steve. Trust me.
Well, we'll teach you. We'll get you going, my friend. Before the break, we were talking about hacks and talking about just some little tips and tricks that we did, and also you were going into a little bit about just things you run into, and we're going to continue to expand on that as far as the process of it. Obviously, people call you up. Now, you dispose of all this in, I guess, appropriate locations, correct? I mean, so obviously, like you said, when you have like electronics, you have to dispose of them at certain locations as well.
Yes.
Okay. And now, when they pick them, when they call you out, do you unload everything? Do they have to have it outside? I mean, did they just, you're full service on that?
We're full service, Steve. So when they call and we give them a price, we price by volume in the truck. So it just depends on how much stuff they have.
Okay.
So if it's a quarter truck, it's X amount. If it's half a truck, it's X amount, all the way up to a full truck. Sometimes it's multiple trucks. If we're doing a full house clean out, and we've done jobs before, it's been 7 truckloads of stuff out of the house. So it just depends on how much stuff they have. It's full service. So we come in, we get it out, we disassemble it to make sure, if need be, to make sure that we're taking it out in small pieces so we're not scratching floors, hitting walls, that kind of stuff. And we find that we can get more in the truck by disassembling a lot of stuff. We won't put a kitchen table in with 4 legs if it's garbage, obviously. If we can donate it, then we keep it together so we can drop it off at a donation center.
Okay.
But if it's, the table shot for some reason, broken, whatever, we'll take the legs off it. That way it's not taking up a quarter of a truck with just a simple table versus just stacking it up against the front, and it really doesn't take up that much space. So we try to give as much value as we can when we're loading a truck. We don't just throw it in haphazardly. There's a little bit of a science, a little Jenga to it to try and pack it to get the customer the most value for their money.
When I was reading about you guys, I thought it was really cool, your whole purpose. It's not just that you're getting junk out of a house, but you have an actual purpose. You're trying to keep, stuff out of landfills and things along those lines. How do you, figure out what gets donated, what doesn't? How do you separate all that?
So we, at this point, have a pretty good idea of what people are looking for as far as the donation centers. We talk to the donation centers. They kind of let us know what they need, what their needs are. So we have a pretty good idea what they're looking for. If we consider it to be in decent shape, we'll take it to a donation center. We usually put it on the back of the truck then so we can access it when we get to the donation center. I'll go inside and say, hey, I've got something in the truck. You want to take a look at it just to make sure it's something they want. We don't just drive up and dump it, because if it's not something they can use or resell, obviously, they're going to pay to get rid of it. And that kind of defeats the purpose of the donation center. So we want to make sure it's good quality stuff and that it's something they can use or resell.
What do donation centers ask for? So my big thing is I have a hard time letting go of things, but if I know that somebody else needs it, it's that much easier for me. If that makes any sense. Like if I have 75 pairs of jeans, I have an obsession with jeans, I'll hold on to them. So I'll fit into those later. But if I have a friend who's, not doing the greatest with money, and she's like, I don't have any jeans, I need the size, I will give all of them to her. Sure. So I think knowing, what they could possibly need or what they're in
Clothing is always big if it's in good shape. There's always racks and racks of clothing at the, baby stuff. We find a lot of baby stuff. We find stuff from elderly people, walkers and bath seats, stuff like that. I mean, furniture, tables, if it's in good shape, stuff like that.
Basically everything.
The entertainment centers, the giant entertainment centers,
oh, yeah,
those are kind of a thing of the past now because of flat screen TVs and stuff like that. So
people cannot get rid of those things.
And they're just too hard to move.
They're just bulky and huge, and they're kind of useless at this point. So because of technology, the way it's progressed. So a lot of that stuff, we really don't try to take that to a donation center, but we do. Anything we think they can use. Like we dropped off a dining room set the other day that was in really good condition with all the chairs and if we found an electric reclining chair that maybe an elderly person could use or someone like myself.
There you go.
It's funny you said that. My dad just text me he's got these 3 reclining, like they're awesome, these chairs, and he needs to get rid of them. Yeah. So anyway,
but stuff like that, if it can help,
Right.
So it's kind of case by case. We try to decide on site and then let the ultimate decision lay with the donation place.
Now, how do you determine when you come out, like say if I'm calling you out and I'm calling you out. No, I'm calling you out to
that was a really good one.
Call out.
It's a good one. Funny.
Anyway, so I'm calling. How do you determine, or how is pricing determined? Is it by truckload? Is it by what you're bringing in? Because obviously, if you have to, I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, if you have to make several different trips to dispose of something, say some at a dump or whatever you're going to dump it at, an electronic recycling place, and if you're going to drop it off to be donated, that's
didn't Mike go over this already?
Right,
but it's by volume.
Well, right, but I mean, as far as
it,
pricing
it
on it,
does.
if you have different ones, that's going to be different location. Rather than if you just had, okay, this is all just going into the.
Yeah.
Into
So
the
we
garbage.
try to plan it where we have multiple donation sites that we use.
Okay.
So we try to
okay.
plan it depending on where we're working. Obviously, geographically, we're going to try to hit the closest.
Right.
We're not dedicated to one.
Okay.
Because, like you said, time is money, gas is money. And, so we try to hit the one that's closest to where we're working, or maybe right on the way to the dump as we go, or something like that, just to try to save time and stuff. So that helps a lot. And then as far as pricing goes, if it's a couple items, we can usually hit it pretty spot on as far as volume. If it's an entire house, it's very difficult to say it's going to be 2 trucks exactly.
Correct.
So we try to give a range there, a high and a low. So usually we're in the middle, but we don't want to come. We don't want to come in higher. So when I give a price and there's a range, the maximum will be, that's where we shut it off. If I messed it up, then that's on me. And, I'm not going to come back to you and say, oh, it's an extra $500 or it's an extra $1,000 because I didn't calculate the volume correctly. So,
and the reason why I asked that specifically is you have a lot of times people are programmed to think it's like, well, I've got all this stuff here. And if he has to take it here and he has to take it here and he has to do this with it, oh, that's just going to cost so much more money, and then I don't know if I could afford it, where a lot of times the assumption is already made before the phone call, and that's why I was trying to get an idea so when people are going to call you, they know that you've already got all of that planned in your pricing.
Correct.
To make it as reasonable as you can,
right,
based on a house-by-house difference.
And a lot of times we don't know till we get there, so I can't factor in that anyway. So we just kind of, like I said, we try to be as diligent as we can about finding places along the way. We have multiple places we drop at. So usually there's one of those 3, 4, 5 places that we go to that are geographically.
So geographically, how widespread are you guys? How far do you go? Like, what's your
We pretty
range?
much, I'm not locked in. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of people ask us, are you a franchise? And
Right.
we're not. We're independent.
And I would totally think that because I've heard of the Junk Squad. I literally would think, I think I saw that on on TV or something. So I would think that too. I had no idea that you were,
We get asked that often. We're not. So we're not locked into a territory that we purchased or something like that. So we can go anywhere. I mean, we go as far as, we did a job in Kankakee a couple weeks ago. We're going to Chicago in a couple of weeks.
You ever do like a neighborhood sweep, like like a few neighbors get together and then you just hit up 3 or 4 houses at once? It sounds like a good idea. In essence.
I know. I say you're looking for a marketing job.
It sounds pretty cool. I would do that.
We have actually not. We have we do work for retirement homes and stuff. So it's funny because when we're there, sometimes someone will say, "Hey, while you're here, can you just grab this couch while you're here?" So,
or like if you had a garage, if how you have like the block garage sales. Once Sunday's done, it's like, all right, let's get the Junk Squad in here and get everything.
She's on it. That makes sense.
Megan's got ideas.
Right?
Megan's got ideas.
There you go.
It's a Monday, too. It's surprising.
Awesome.
Wow.
That monster's
It does its thing.
Awesome. In case you're just tuning in and you're catching the tail end of the show, you're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing. And my co-host here is Megan Ozer. And our guest today is Mr. Mike Schnyders with Junk Squad, and he's enlightened us with a lot of information and tips for decluttering, and to give us a lot of information about his company and how they help the community. And I have a question, or a couple questions we're going to finish off the show with. We got about 3 minutes left.
I hope it's a good one because I really want you to answer. I want him to answer one of the fun ones.
I guess 2 things we have is, one, are there things you cannot take? And the second one would be, anything cool that you found? What's the coolest thing you found?
So things we
keep
can't
it clean,
take.
Mike.
Yeah,
Keep it clean.
I've been warned already by my wife.
I know what you were going to say.
So things we can't take, any hazardous things, chemicals, paint, stains like that, in their liquid state. Like a lot of times, paints you can put kitty litter in, it'll dry them out. People can throw them away in their own trash. Or
another tip from Mike.
If they're dried out, if they're liquid state. It's just we just can't take them because it's a disaster if it spills, and it's just not
makes sense.
Not a good thing to do.
Hazardous,
hazardous chemicals too as well. There are things that have additional fees with them, like tires.
Children.
Tires will. We don't know.
No. Okay.
No. They charge us extra. Certain things at the dump they charge extra for, so like mattresses, because they can't break them down. So they charge an additional fee because of the size and volume, bulk of them.
Okay.
Tires, another one that they charge an additional fee for. Electronics, we talked about earlier.
Right.
Those are the 3 big ones. So when we encounter those on jobs, there's a little additional fee for those.
I would never
just to
know
cover
that.
Costs at the dump.
Interesting.
Okay.
Or the electronic recycling place.
Okay.
Coolest thing we found? That's tough. I mean, we haven't really come across the original Picasso yet or anything, because I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now if we did. I probably would have sold that for a couple mil. But Steve, I know these are the things that I think are cool.
Oh, he's bringing some. He's got a bag.
I brought gifts. I got stuff.
Oh, you brought
things. So Steve, I know, is a big football fan to the point where he's going to sit on Christmas Eve in minus 20-degree temperatures. So when I found this,
he didn't go. He didn't go to that game.
Oh, you didn't go?
No, we didn't go.
You're still a diehard.
I couldn't drag.
You're still a diehard.
I couldn't have any.
June wanted
anybody,
nothing to do with it.
They wanted nothing to do with it.
These are the things I think are cool. I found this and I immediately thought of you.
What you got?
It's a Sid Luckman bobblehead still in the box.
Oh my
Stop it.
God, dude!
Who the hell is that?
So that's for you.
Look at
Honestly,
it.
he's the one
You
who
got
still
a gift.
has.
He looks like Chandler from
And
Friends.
it's brand new.
He still has and holds many of the Bears' passing records.
That's really cool.
And
So
that's
those are the cool
when
things
he
I
played.
find.
It can go up with your clock that June cannot wait to hang.
Sid Luckman, for all you Bear fans, played in. He was quarterback of the Bears from 1939 to 1950.
But that thing is, those are the cool, like that's original in the box. It's probably never been opened. Well, actually, I opened it to look at it because I
Thank you,
Really
brother.
neat.
I
You are
didn't want to hand you an empty box. I had to make sure it was in there.
awesome. You see this?
And then for Megan,
Check that
You
out.
got me something?
I did. We found this at a house clean out probably about a year ago, but I don't think it ever goes bad.
You didn't. This is
bourbon
great.
jerky.
Your bourbon. Actually, I just
brown
bought that.
sugar. Had I known this, I wouldn't have bought
I
a
know.
beef
I
and
didn't want
cheese
to.
stick.
I know. I watched you. You can save it for the next show.
You are the best guest ever,
This
Mike.
is
Thank
amazing.
you. I
Thank you.
appreciate
I bought that this morning. I did not
I
find it
figured.
in a house.
Thank you so much. This is so
Awesome.
good. I
Yeah, we
almost bought
find-
this one this morning.
We
too.
find random stuff. You know, a lot of it we donate. Like I
This
said,
is-
if it's in good shape, we donate it. Those are the cool things. Like, to me, I like that stuff. We
That's
found
awesome.
some 1920 vintage fans, like little fans that still work in houses.
I have one of those at our lake. We found it. We have a lake house. We found it in the basement.
Yeah.
Super old.
Keep 'em away
fan.
from the
Like,
kids.
I like the vintage stuff. I think that, I know the slots in those, you can fit your
Yeah.
whole arm
Oh,
in
yeah.
there. They're not very
Not designed for safety.
friendly.
I want to thank you, Mike, for being on here. I appreciate that, man. And this is great. Thank you, and hook Meg up here.
Yeah, thank you.
If people want to get a hold of you, what's a great way to get in touch with you?
So our phone number is 708-998-5865. That's the last four numbers spelled junk. So 708-998-JUNK. You can contact us via email, junksquadillinoisil@gmail.com, junksquadil@gmail.com. Website is junksquadil.com.
Or they can reach you on Facebook,
And
too.
you're on
Facebook,
socials,
you can
right?
message us
Cool.
on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, or Junk Squad Illinois on Facebook. So,
I'm going to answer. I'm going to have you answer more of these questions and then put them up and let
Awesome.
people see it.
yeah.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
having
being
me.
on here. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We will be back next week with our guest, Sean Porter, with Porterhouse Heating and Cooling. And also, any guests of the show or guests, shoot it over to our Prepare to Repair hotline at 708-964-5500 or on Facebook at Prepare to Repair, or send us an email at preparetorepair.com. You can always reach us at RJ Graham Plumbing for all your plumbing needs at 708-743-7426. And do head out to Ferguson Supply for all your kitchen, bath, and lighting and appliance needs. Till next week, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you.
When we see you.
See you when we
Next
see you.
week.
Okay. Thought
Bye,
you were going to
guys.
say goodbye. See you
I
later,
did.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.